Welcome to Ordnance WarGaming. Today we're making a Necron monument, and we're making it right now. Before we get started, if you want to improve your wargaming and make your battles epic, be sure to smash the subscribe button, ding the bell, and launch a nuke to make sure that you never miss a video. Now, let's get into what you need. Okay guys, so to make this Necron monument, the first thing that you want is some foam to make it out of. Dense foam's the best. Get it at least 30mm thick. You want a pencil to mark out your terrain with. You want some knives to cut your terrain out with. You want some glue to stick it all together. Crappy brush to spread your glue out. You want something to base coat your terrain with so your other paint sticks. I'd recommend a large brush to speed the process up. Some colors to make it look nice. Decent brush to color it with. You're also going to want a ruler to measure everything out with, and finally a base to stick it all onto. I'm using 3mm MDF. Okay guys, so the first step is to mark out the dimensions of your monument on your foam board. So the dimensions I'm using are 150mm by 150mm for the base. This being 30mm thick will give me 30mm of thickness. For the monument pillar itself, I'm making it so that I made a marking 10mm by 100mm, so it'll be 10 by 100 by 30 because of the thickness. So to cut it out, you just take your knife, you want to make sure it's nice and sharp, and you just start scoring along the lines to give yourself a nice starting point. If your pencil was blunt like mine, it will leave a nice indent in the foam for you to trace along. And you just take your knife and trace it along there, trying to get it as straight as you possibly can. And you repeat that for all of them, and then you go put your knife out a bit more and you cut it out completely. Okay, so once you've got your foam cut out, you should have a little pillar like so, as well as a 150 by 150mm square. You want to divide your square into a 5x5 grid using your pencil and ruler, and then for your outer ring of squares on your grid, just divide them in half with a line 15mm in from the edge. You also want to put two lines 10mm apart on each edge like so. So you want to take your knife and just cut along the very outer ring of lines, which is going to form your first tier of steps. Try to do it as neat and straight as possible. Then you go to your lower line and you start scoring along it all the way along. And once you've done that, you just keep making your cut slightly deeper until the piece falls off. And once you get through, it'll just pull away like so, and you'll have your first step, and you'll just repeat that for the next one, as well as all the way around. Okay, so once you've taken your first step off, you need to remark your upper 10mm line of your two there because it got taken off when we made the first cut. And to do the next step, you'll just repeat the process, but only down to the new line that you've marked in there now. Okay, so now that you've got your second layer taken off, you've got 3 steps of the top of your pyramid. The next step is to mark out for your steps. So you just mark them out as you can see there. If you can see it, I hope you can. Basically, there's just lines down there, 30mm apart, and then halfway up each of them I've put another line across, and halfway in I've put another line across, and we'll take the front section out of each of these to form the smaller steps that people would walk up. Okay, so once you've got the steps cut out, you're left with something like this. It's starting to look like a nice monument. So the next step is to take your glue and just put a dollop of it in the middle of your little pyramid-y type thing. And then you want to take your pillar and you want to just dollop it on top, spreading the glue out so you don't have any nasty bumps. And like so. Get it nice and stuck down. Once that dries, we'll base coat it. Okay, so now that the glue's dry, we need to carve out our pillar with some Necron type text or whatever text you want to use. So to do that, we're just going to use a pencil. Originally I was going to just etch out an outline of what I wanted and then cut it out with a knife. But if you use enough pressure, you can start getting something that looks like an engraving, and I think it gives a really nice effect. So So you just start out by using light pressure, and then you gently increase the pressure as you want it to go a bit deeper to get the depth of the engraving that you want. Okay, so the engraving's finished, and as you can see, it's got a nice bit of depth to it. When you're engraving it using the pencil, you just need to make sure that at first you're very light with the pressure of the pencil until you're happy with the shape that you've got, and then start putting more pressure on it to go deeper and get it to the depth of the engraving that you want. Now, before we base coat it, remember how I said that the engraving was the last step of modeling it? Well, I lied. So the last step really is to get your knife and make sure you pull the blade out of it, and then you just need to rough up the top of it here where it's really smooth, because obviously being rock you don't want it to be too smooth. So you just get your razor blade and you just rough it up as much as you can. Put a few cuts here and there just to put a few cuts here and there to give it the texture for the razor blade to grab onto. And just try to smash it up a bit. Where there's corners, you can chip them back a bit. And even the corners down here, chip them down a bit. Just make it look like it's been out in the weather for a little bit. Which obviously with this foam is really easy to do because it just breaks apart. Which just adds an extra element of realism to it. Makes it look a bit more like stone rather than a piece of foam that we've painted. As there really shouldn't be any perfect corners on it, being out in the weather. There we go, so now we've smashed it to bits. Next step is to base coat it. Nope, there I go, lying again. We're not base coating it next. First we're going to put a base on it so that when we base coat it, the base will be the same base coat, so that when the sand goes on we have a dark colour to back it. So as usual, you just kind of trace around it to get a rough size of what you want. And up there. And then you cut it out with your Stanley knife, or whatever you want to use to cut it out. I'd recommend getting some kind of saw, as the sanding knife is going to take a while. And then you bevel off the edges, and yeah, then you stick it down. Okay, so now that I've got a base for it, I've just made it out of MDF and beveled off the edges. Next thing you need to do is glue your monument down to your base. So you just take your wood glue and just squiddle it all over the place. And you take your monument, you press it down, and wiggle it around to get the glue to spread out. And once you're happy with the positioning, you leave it to dry, and then once it's dry, you can base coat it and start with the artistic colouring bit. Bam! Now that it's glued down and base coated, time for the fun bit. So for the main bit of the pyramid for the monument, I'm going to be just going over the black with a light dry brush of grey, just because it's made of the same sort of rocky material that the rest of the stuff that the board that I'm thinking of putting this on is going to be. So it's just going to have a nice coating of grey on the base. Okay, so now that we've got the stone for the actual structure painted, we want to make it so that the hieroglyphics in there that have been engraved into the pillar have a sort of a green glow to them is what I'm wanting. So to achieve that, I'm going to put down a coat of snot green into the channels, and then I'm going to highlight it using scorpion green just to make it pop out and seem glowing. And then I'm going to paint the entire pillar with my Space Wolves grey, which is a combination of ceramite white and fenrisen grey, as they don't make Space Wolves grey anymore. Bam! All painted, and how good does that look? To paint it, I just started with my snot green inside the little carvings to give a base for the glow, and then I used some scorpion green to just make it glow a little bit more. I used my Space Wolves grey to paint the majority of it in the same living metal style as my Necron monolith, and I also used some Gehenna's gold just to give it a highlight, just to make it stand out a little bit more and feel complete, as it didn't look quite as complete as I wanted it to be when it was just the grey. So the next step that we need to do is to put the sand on it, and to do that you just, as usual, whack down your PVA And with this one, I'm also going to put a little bit onto the actual pyramid itself, just to cover up a couple of the blemishes in it, for starters, as well as to make it look like a bit of sand has blown onto it here and there. And then you just brush it down with your glue brush, which mine has gotten very, very stiff now. Probably gonna need more glue than that, actually. Once you've got your glue on, you just take the whole thing and you just dip it in into your bucket of sand if you can. I can't, my bucket's too small, so I'm just gonna grab some of it out, making sure it's all on the board so I can catch the excess, and you just cover it in sand like so. Then, once you've got it all covered, you just take it and just shake the excess off, like so. And of course, you put the excess back into your bucket because we don't want to be wasteful. Bam! How good does that look now? It's nicely based, it looks complete now, but there is one more step to do. We just need to seal the sand down using our PVA water mix, which is about 20 to 25% PVA and the rest water. And you just chuck it in a spray bottle and you just cover the entire thing in it. The purpose of this is just to make sure that any loose sand that's not held down is nicely grabbed and stuck down, so that when you're using it on your table, you don't end up with sand everywhere, because no one wants sand everywhere. And if you're playing it like I did when I was in high school, and you're playing it in your mum's kitchen, you probably don't want to be getting sand all over the bench. So it's a good idea just to soak it down nicely, get it nice and drenched with the wood glue and the water, and then set it aside somewhere to dry. And once it's dry, you're all done. There you go. So that is how you make yourself a Necron monument as a centerpiece for some epic battles. And I think that it looks pretty damn good myself. It's got the little Necron text there, it's risen up a little bit. It's about the height of a standard miniature of some standard infantry, so it's got some nice scale to it as well. If you find yourself being a little bit impatient with the ceiling glue drying, which I was, don't do what I did, which was just plain stupid and try to blast it with a heat gun to try and make it dry quicker, as it ends badly and it has melted the steps a little bit here at the front. But I'll probably put some sand over that just to try to cover it up, and we'll just not tell anyone that I did that. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you found this video useful, then smash the like button so that we know that you guys liked it, so that we can keep making stuff that you like. And if you have an idea for some terrain that you'd love to see us make, then please leave it in the comment section below so that we can see if we can make that happen for you. If you want to improve your wargaming, make your tabletop experience more epic, then be sure to smash the subscribe button, ding the bell to launch a nuke, and make sure that you never miss out on a video. Until next time.